Hi boys and girls, how are y'all doing? Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here today. Now yesterday you were supposed to have made our unit fraction kit. Okay, that was something we did yesterday that I told you you would need to answer your questions in Google Classroom for yesterday. We're going to need it again today, okay, because we're going to dive in and kind of talk about something that we called equivalent fractions. And I hope that that kind of registers with you and rings a bell. Anytime we think about equivalent fractions, all that we're talking about is equal or something that's the same, okay? So when I am talking about a fraction, if I'm talking about half of a pizza, it may not necessarily be cut into just two slices, even though I know halves can be representative with a denominator of 2. So I'm going to show you guys a video that will kind of explain this a little bit better, kind of break it down for you guys, and then we'll work together on our unit fraction kit. So if you don't have that with you right now, you're going to want to pull these out. These are the ones we made yesterday. You're going to want to pull those out because we're going to work with those after the video is over, okay?
So what I want you to do is pause this video and think about what fraction the red part represents in each of these, shapes, or what fraction of the whole does the red part represent. And I also want you to plot it out on a number line, to plot that fraction as a number on a number line. So let's go through each of these. So in this pie right over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal sections. And one of those 5 equal sections is shaded in. So we could say that 1/5 of this pie is shaded in. Now over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 equal sections, and 2 of them are shaded in. So we could say that 2/10 are shaded in. And then finally right over here, once again we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 equal sections. 10 equal sections, and 2 of them are shaded in red. So in this situation, the red slices represent 2/10 of the whole. And if we were to try to plot this on a number line, so right over here, do a quick one right over here. Let me do it like this. Let me make a big number line here. And let's take the section between 0 and 1, that's what we want to focus on, and I'm going to divide it into 5 equal sections. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal sections, and then that gets us to 1. So this right over here, 1/5, that would be 1 out of the 5 equal sections. So that would get us right over there. So this would be 1/5. And what I want to do, let me copy and paste this same number line since I've already drawn it. Copy and paste it. Let me put it right over here. But now, I'm going to divide it into 10 equal sections. So if we take, let me divide it into 10 equal sections on the top one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've divided it into 10 equal sections, and I want to figure out where 2/10 goes. So I'm going to go 2 of those equal sections. So 1, 2. So once again, I've got to that exact same point. So this 1/5 I could also represent as 2/10. So I could represent this as 2/10, this point right over here. And you might be saying, hey, wait, but that means that those are the same number. They're the exact same point on the number line. And if you said that, you would be absolutely correct. 1/5 is equal to 2/10. They represent the exact same number. And it makes sense even when you visually look at them as a fraction of these pies. Here, going from this slice to this slice, if you were to just divide all of these slices into 2, you see that you have the exact same fraction. You have the exact same fraction shaded in as this one right over here. They've become identical. I didn't shade in anything else. I haven't taken any of the red away. I haven't added any of the red. I just divided all of those pieces of pie into 2. And so you see that the exact same part of the whole pie is shaded in. And here it's not quite as obvious, but if you imagine taking this, dividing it into two, and then splitting them up so that they look like this, you still have the same part of the circle. You still have the same part of the circle shaded in red. So it makes complete sense that they represent the same number on the number line, that this number right over here, it's not only 1/5, it also is 2/10. 1/5 is equal to 2/10.
Okay, so what that means is that sometimes we have our fraction, and like we were talking about our pizza, like if I had half of a pizza, they're not gonna, if I tell them that I want pepperoni on half of my pizza, they're not gonna divide my pizza into two pieces. They're gonna divide it just like normal and only put pepperoni on one side, okay? So what we're talking about are those equivalent fractions, where we have other fractions that can equal the same amount, okay? So let's look at that with our unit fractions a little bit more, okay? Now here I've laid down a half because we were talking about our half of a pizza, okay? Now normally we have pizzas that are divided into eighths, okay? Which means we have eight pieces of pizza that we can choose from. And if I say I want half of that to be pepperoni, then they've got to decide what half of the whole is, okay? And one way we can do that is if you made your unit fractions, you can lay these down and line these up until you have filled up the space. Now if I pull another one, I'm going to know I have added one too many, okay, because that's not going to equal, it's going to be too big, okay? So how many eighths would I need to put pepperoni on if I want half of my pizza to have pepperoni and it's got 8 slices as a whole? Then I'll need to put 4 on 4 of those 4 pieces of pizza will have pepperoni and 4 won't, okay? Alright, let's look at another one. What if I said I had it divided into fourths? Then I have my fourths from yesterday. Well, to find the equivalent fraction, we can use these and just line them up until we see what makes it even, okay? And I can lay this on top and it's going to be exactly the same. So if it had been divided into fourths, then what fraction would be equal to 1/2? That would be 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So 2/4 is equal to 1/2. Okay, so those are the same. We talked about the greater than and less than yesterday a good bit, and this would be the same. And looking at those eighths again, because I didn't write it out, let's write it out together so you can understand it. Okay, so when we do the eighths, you told me that I needed 4. So to make it, to write it out, I can say 1/2 is equal to how many of those eighths? It's going to be equal to 4/8, okay? Let's look at another one. Let's see, what if I took, if I use my eighths and then I look at my fourths, can you predict how many of those eighths I'll need to fill up 1/4? I'll need 2/8. So 1/4 is equal to 2/8. Okay, and you don't have to start with a unit fraction. We could start with, let's see. Sorry, I had my papers flying everywhere. Okay, what if I have 2/4? I know that 1/4 equals 2/8, but now we're changing this numerator. So now I have 2/4, and how many eighths is that going to take? It was 2 for 1, so let's try laying 2 more down, and that's going to give me 4/8. And also, both of those are also equal to something else. Do you know what? Those are also equal to my half. Okay. Alright. And let's do one more. I'm missing my other orange. Let's see. Okay, well, if I have my 1 over 1, or 1, how many halves is that going to equal? What's my equivalent fraction? I can tell by looking at it if I look at this. I don't know where I've dropped my other one somewhere. I'm sorry, it's not in my baggie. So how many of those could you predict? That looks like it's about half, so I'm going to need 2 to make 1 whole, okay? It's not too hard, is it? Okay, I know that's kind of simple. It's just using these unit fraction sheets to kind of look. Eventually, you'll get to the point that you can tell a unit fraction just by looking at it, just by kind of visualizing it in your head. We'll take it maybe another step further, but I don't want to confuse anybody or get too deep. This is a really easy way for you to kind of see and imagine what these fractions actually represent, okay, without me pulling a piece of pizza in here and just laying it out and showing you what it would look like. So this is a really good way for you to see and be able to kind of hold these and look at them. So I hope you made these and you kept them for today. I want you to use these to answer all of your questions on Google Classroom, and then you have assignments in Math Prodigy too. I know this lesson isn't super long. It's only been maybe 10 or 12 minutes. So today you have a little bit more time to actually practice this skill. Use these in Math Prodigy. Use these on those answers, okay, so that you can kind of see what we're talking about and better understand it. If you have any questions, you can send me a message on Seesaw or a message in Google Classroom. I miss you guys and love you. Bye-bye.